New forms and transformations are the name of the game when it comes to Dragon Ball. After all, why work hard to outsmart your opponent when you can just yell really loud and get shiny new hair? Well, it does take a little more effort than that, but you get the point. When you got a series like Dragon Ball which has more forms in it than the Kama Sutra, spicy, there's bound to be some that are downright overpowered, and some that leave a lot to be desired. The most iconic of the Dragon Ball transformations has got to be the original Super Saiyan form. Ever since then, we have seen a deluge of so many new forms that it's hard to keep track of. In this video, we'll be going through some of Dragon Ball's coolest transformations and ranking them according to their power. The Kaio-Ken, one of the very first transformations in all of Dragon Ball, and certainly one of the most iconic. Kaio-Ken is a move that is used by many martial artists in the franchise to massively increase their strength and ki. This is a risky transformation to utilize, however, as it causes significant strain on the user depending on what level of Kaio-Ken is used and leaves them more vulnerable to attacks. When utilized, Kaio-Ken vastly increases the muscle density of its user, causing them to bulk up like Bruce Banner stepping on a Lego. They also get a hot red aura that really sells the power and aggressive nature of the transformation. Originally, Goku could only handle lower levels of Kaio-Ken, but after some training, he was able to attain Kaio-Ken forms of 10 times, 20 times, and even 100 times the base level. Even today, it's still used as a tool by Goku and friends to further multiply their power levels when transformed. The Great Ape form is the true OG of Dragon Ball. It was a form that all Saiyans could transform into when a full moon was present, sort of like a werewolf, but kaiju-sized. Nowadays, very few Saiyans still alive possess tails, which is essential for this transformation to take place, so it isn't very often seen anymore in the series. The Great Ape's power is said to be 10 times that of a base Saiyan, so it was often used out of desperation as a last resort for many Saiyan warriors. The transformation does have a strong weak point, being the tail. If the tail of the Great Ape transformation is removed, the host will revert back to their original Saiyan forms. When transformed, the Saiyan also loses the ability to reason and goes berserk. They do still have some control and can differentiate between friend and foe, but you can throw any strategy or nuance out the window. A lot of people seem to forget that the Frieza you see in Super and at the end of the Frieza saga isn't the only form he has, but it's by far his most iconic. Frieza has 4 base forms, starting with a very childlike form at first, then his giant buff form as a second, his third form has a weird xenomorph-like head, and finally we get to the final form of Frieza that we all know and love to hate. His final form is significantly more powerful than his earlier forms, and unlike Super Saiyan or similar transformations, this is his true form, so there's no extra limit on his stamina or how long he can be in it after becoming accustomed to it. His strength in this form was shown to be nearly on the level of Super Saiyan Goku, but he was ultimately surpassed. There is no form more iconic to Dragon Ball than the base Super Saiyan form. Seriously, at this point, it seems as though Goku and Vegeta are in their Super Saiyan forms more often than not. It's always the form you see when the two are sparring, or when they're testing out another fighter's ability. Originally, though, this form changed the game for Dragon Ball, and really cemented the idea of power escalation in the series. The base Super Saiyan form was originally unlocked by Goku upon Frieza taking out his lifelong friend Krillin. In this form, Super Saiyans are believed to be 50 times more powerful than their base forms. In the case of Frieza, this was just the form needed to take the little guy out for good. Well, for a while at least. Super Namekians are the closest thing the people of Namek have to a Super Saiyan form, as the name would suggest. Technically, this form is a fusion, as Piccolo first achieved it by fusing with Nail and Kami. However, unlike the use of the fusion dance or the Patara earrings, the Super Namekian transformation is permanent under typical circumstances. It is believed that Super Namekians are 100 times more powerful than their base forms, an even greater multiplier than the Super Saiyan's 50 times boost. Upon Piccolo's fusion with Kami, Piccolo was believed to be the strongest Namekian currently in existence. In the manga, when Moro attacks Namek, we see another Super Namekian, being a transformation of multiple Namekian warriors referred to as the Namekian Savior, but even then, they were unable to defeat the evil wizard. Cell is a biomechanical creature created by Dr. Gero to surpass his prior android creations. He, being at least a partially organic creature, goes through multiple different evolutions. The first is his imperfect cell form, which has a very distinctly insect-like appearance. Later on, after absorbing Android 17, he gains his second form, semi-perfect cell. Eventually, he also absorbs Android 18, which unlocks his final form, perfect cell. Perfect Cell has a much more human appearance than his previous forms, but still keeps his bug-like carapace and wings. This form is, to put it simply, perfect. He is an absolute menace in this arc, and handles the majority of the Z-Fighters with absolute ease. Eventually, he's able to maintain his perfect form even without having absorbed the androids. In the end, he is bested when Gohan transforms into Super Saiyan 2 and finishes off Cell for good with his awesome father-son Kamehameha. Now, Super Saiyan 2, also referred to as Ascended Super Saiyan, is the direct sequel to the original Super Saiyan form. SS2 further amplifies the already incredible abilities of a base Super Saiyan, increasing their power level by a factor of 10. Gohan is the first to achieve this form after Perfect Cell destroys Android 16. The resulting form is one that is a bit more nuanced than the original, looking very similar to the original Super Saiyan form, but making the hair even spikier and straighter. There's also a notable electrical discharge from this form, being its most noticeable feature over the base Super Saiyan form. This is seen as one of the most efficient Saiyan forms, as it gives an impressive speed and power increase without overly burdening the user with fatigue. Gohan was so strong in this form that he was able to overpower Cell in a Kamehameha clash with only one arm. Ultimate Gohan is Gohan's most commonly used form, achieved after having his potential unlocked by Elder Kaio-Ken. Ultimate Gohan is Gohan's most commonly used form, achieved after having his potential unlocked by Elder Kaio-Shin. This form appears to be the same as his base form, but in actuality is on a power level very similar to Gohan's Super Saiyan 2. This form gives Gohan the abilities of a Super Saiyan 2 while negating the negative effects of the form. In his ultimate form, Gohan radiates a standard white aura as opposed to the golden aura that is standard among most super forms. He barely changes in appearance, only gaining slightly more muscle mass and having his hair be spiked up just a bit more. The unlocked potential form is unique to Gohan, and it's believed that he is the only individual in Dragon Ball who has ever attained it. Even in Dragon Ball Super, this form is still used and gives Gohan an impressive edge over the other Saiyan transformations. If there is one form that radiates incredible Unga Bunga caveman energy, it has got to be Super Saiyan 3. This form was first achieved by Goku, and we saw it when he was fighting Majin Buu. He screams for literal minutes and releases incredible power to achieve this form. Super Saiyan 2 is meant to be a form of raw power, and it drains the user faster than almost any previous form does. It is said to draw every drop of potential out of a Saiyan, but in turn it fatigues the user at an incredibly rapid rate, so it's not ideal for prolonged fights. Super Saiyan 3 is easily the most distinct Super Saiyan form from the original Dragon Ball Z run. It elongates the hair of the user a significant amount, usually below the waist of the Saiyan. Most interestingly, it also removes the eyebrows completely and elongates the brow ridge of the user, really cementing the Neanderthal look. Majin Buu had some of the most transformations of any Dragon Ball villain, and that's saying a lot when you compare him to the competition. There's Kid Buu, Innocent Buu, Good Buu, and Evil Buu. But the most powerful incarnation of Buu is definitely his final form, Super Buu. Super Buu is the culmination of a series of absorptions by Buu. Ultimately, Super Buu is what is created, and he is a world-ending threat like no other the series had seen before. Like Kid Buu, this form is pure anger and has no remorse about just deleting anyone who gets in his way. In this form, he continued to absorb different characters such as Gotenks and Piccolo, which increased his power even further and is eventually able to even scare Goku in his Super Saiyan 3 form. Vegeta and Goku had to take desperate measures and fuse into Vegito in order to take Super Buu out, and even then, it was no trivial task. Super Saiyan God was the first big step in power for Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super. In this form, a Saiyan gains access to Godly Ki, which, as the name would imply, grants the user massively increased powers. Despite what the name would imply, the form is actually not technically a Super Saiyan form, as it's a newly obtained base form transformation for Goku and Vegeta. The form maintains the standard Super Saiyan form for both Goku and Vegeta with a few changes, most notably the hair and eyes gain a red hue. Unlike the Super Saiyan form, the God form does little to change the user's hair aside from the color. The aura while in this form radiates energy akin to that of a burning flame with the colors to match. It emphasizes much more on technique and defense than bulldozing the opponent like the later Super Saiyan Blue. Ribrianne is one of the most disliked characters in Dragon Ball Super, and her ultimate form did not help that opinion too much. She's supposed to be a sort of parody of the magical girl formula, which is already one that annoys a lot of people in the first place. Now, just for clarity's sake, to each their own, if you enjoy magical girls, that's fine. We're just speaking in general facts. Her Super Ribrianne form, divisive as it may be, is still a very respectable and powerful form in its own right. Ribrianne becomes kaiju-sized in her strongest form after she received love from the majority of Universe 2. This form, known as Lovely Love Ribrianne, dwarfed the Tournament of Powers battlefield and increased her power further. Android 18 had to pull out all the stops in order to defeat her in this form, along with some assistance from her brother, Android 17. Golden Frieza is really just him ripping off the Saiyan's super forms. In this form, Frieza gains a shiny gold sheen and exerts more energy to gain a temporary but extremely significant boon to his strength and abilities. Originally upon attaining it, Frieza was overconfident in his new form and its abilities, and overused it, quickly leading to him running out of stamina. Once he became more accustomed with his golden form, Frieza was able to control his powers to an impressive degree, leaving little wasted potential to his attacks. Frieza was even able to control individual beams from each of his fingers with such precision that he could keep them locked onto a moving target. Other members of the Frieza race, such as Cooler, were shown to be capable of achieving this form as well, but much like Frieza, the transformation didn't last long on the first use. Zamasu had gone through a number of different forms during his arc in Dragon Ball Super. He achieves the Super Saiyan Rosé form through his Goku Black form, which he obtained by using the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Goku. Much like Goku, Zamasu's Goku Black form was also achieved once surpassing the power of the Super Saiyan God form, which allowed the combined Super Saiyan and God forms to create Super Saiyan Rosé, which acts as a direct counterpart to Super Saiyan Blue. In his Rosé form, Zamasu has a few different states you can enter. There's an enraged form, which further increases his power. There's also a powerhouse state, which enlarges Goku Black's musculature much like a Kaio-Ken. In his Rosé form, Zamasu created one of the coolest attacks in Dragon Ball, the Sickle of Sorrow, which creates a large scythe of divine energy. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, yes, that is the actual name, is the current go-to form for Goku and Vegeta when fighting similarly powerful opponents. The SSGSS form, also known simply as Super Saiyan Blue, is a refined form that combines the previously achieved God form with that of a Super Saiyan. Apparently, Gold and Red make blue when combined. Not sure how that works. This form looks almost identical to the base Super Saiyan form, except for the obvious color differences. Their aura also boasts a blue tinge and is more electric in nature, similar to the aura of Super Saiyan 2. As Goku and Vegeta grew more used to the form, it became an incredibly powerful force for the two, and led to them even further evolving their powers down the line. There were a few rules in the Tournament of Power, such as no combatant can be taken out, a fighter had to be pushed out of bounds to be considered defeated, and perhaps most importantly, no divine beings may take part in the tournament. Well, Toppo didn't break the last rule, but he certainly bent it. While fighting Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Toppo started to more or less become the god of destruction of Universe 11, with the godly ki to boot. His aura acts similarly to the Hakai technique, which utterly destroys whatever it comes into contact with. Fortunately for Vegeta, he was able to resist the divine ki, and was able to take him out with extreme effort on his part. Vegeta defeating someone with God of Destruction energy may just be a sign of things to come. Super Saiyan Blue Evolved is what happens when you take Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan and, well, evolve them. This power was one unique to Vegeta, as Goku followed the path of Ultra Instinct instead. It was brought on in part due to Vegeta's frustration over Goku's mastery of Ultra Instinct, as well as Vegeta's desire to revive the last Saiyans of Universe 6. He used this enhanced Super Saiyan Blue form to surpass his limits in order to defeat Toppo. Whis noted that this form was similar in power to that of Ultra Instinct Sign, implying that Vegeta was simply on a divergent path from Goku. In this form, Vegeta's ki was so powerful that it was able to withstand the destruction power that Toppo employed during their fight. He cleverly used this advantage by using his ki to protect his punches from Toppo's God of Destruction aura, which was destroying anything it came into contact with. The legendary Super Saiyan form is one of the rarest transformations in the Dragon Ball universe, and only a tiny fraction of Saiyans are even capable of achieving it. The two most notable examples of this are, of course, Kale from Universe 6 and Broly. These two have used this form to absolutely devastating and powerful effect. The legendary Super Saiyan form is unique in the visual department. This form gives its user's hair a noticeable green hue. However, most significantly, it also increases the muscle mass of the user by an incredible amount, similar to the Kaio-Ken. Much like Goku's original transformation into his base Super Saiyan form, the legendary Super Saiyan form is achieved by intense distress or sorrow. In the case of Broly, it was upon seeing the loss of his father by the conniving hands of Frieza that he finally snapped and achieved one of the most powerful forms in all of Dragon Ball. Now this one is so new it can only be ranked based on the character's reactions and prior information. But based on how it absolutely terrified the seemingly unstoppable Granolah, I think we can assume that this form is unbelievably impressive. Vegeta took this new form in the latest Dragon Ball manga, so forgive yourself if you weren't aware of it yet. He decided that Ultra Instinct was not the path for him, and in a fairly uncommon fashion decided he would not be following in Goku's footsteps. This form is a result of constant training with Universe 7's God of Destruction, Beerus. He and Whis are using Vegeta and Goku respectively to see which is better, Ultra Instinct or the Power of Destruction. The results aren't in yet, but their next sparring match is sure to be a hoot. Everyone's new favorite form, Ultra Instinct. This one is an interesting case because it deviates a bit from the constant power scaling of Dragon Ball's offensive attacks and pivots more towards a defensive style. To put it simply, Ultra Instinct almost isn't a form so much as it is a mental state. It allows the user to react to attacks and deal with them accordingly without having to actually think. To simplify it, the body simply acts perfectly on instinct, dodging, deflecting, or even simply tanking every hit. During a fight with Moro, a mastered Ultra Instinct Goku simply allowed the wizard to hit him, which broke his hand. Whether or not Vegeta's new form will be able to defeat Ultra Instinct is yet to be seen, but Beerus seems pretty confident. He's not someone I'd want to second guess. There are just so many forms in Dragon Ball, it's hard to compare them. Even when leaving out fusions, there's almost too much to keep in mind. Maybe in the near future, we get to see Vegeta truly surpass Goku. Toriyama, please!